Ja Morant is a two-time All-Star, a former Rookie of the Year, and he averages 22 points and 7 assists for his entire career, and yet the Memphis Grizzlies are officially listening to trade calls. So what happens next? What's up, everybody? This is Mic'd Up, my official debut video on this channel, and today we're going to be talking about Ja Morant's trade buzz and what potential landing spots might fit him best, and what potential landing spots might have the most to give up to get him. But first, I want to give a little background into this history of Ja and the Memphis Grizzlies, because let's be clear, franchise stars like this coming on the trade market doesn't happen that often. It's not surprising, though, that Ja Morant is on the trade block as he's having his worst year as a pro by far, shooting 20% from three-point range and averaging only 19 points and not doing the thing he does best, driving the ball. And with that shooting efficiency dipping and the overall availability issue of Ja, where he gets injured pretty much every season, it's not surprising that the Grizzlies want to move on and make a move for some better players or potentially better draft picks. Here's the part that matters most. Where is Ja going to go? As I said, he's a two-time NBA All-Star, a former Rookie of the Year. He's got a long list of stats coming from his time with the Grizzlies. So really, why is he getting traded and where is he going to fit best? Because when Ja is locked in and he's healthy and he's playing his style of basketball, he's one of the most dangerous players in the entire NBA, in my opinion. I had him as a top 3 guard just a few short years ago, and now you can't even find him in top 10 conversations, top 15 conversations. So where did this fall off happen? And is it simply an injury and availability issue? Because for me, it feels like an effort issue. He's kind of feels like he's given up on the team a few different times. And this year, it's more than obvious that he's given up on the team and given up on trying to have any kind of future with the Memphis Grizzlies. And I want to be clear, this isn't a debate about talent. We all know how talented Ja Morant is, but his trade market is just simply not there right now. It's about reliability. It's about dedication. It's about whether Memphis believes they can still build a core around Ja Morant or if they want to go in a completely different direction. We already saw him kind of break up that core by getting rid of Desmond Bain this summer, and they're already shopping Jaren Jackson as well. So it really does leave a lot on the table to say, what are the Memphis Grizzlies going to do and what direction are they actually headed in? So let's get into it. Where does Ja Morant go if Memphis decides to pull the trigger? My top option personally is Milwaukee. I think the Milwaukee Bucks could benefit a ton from a guy like Ja Morant playing next to Giannis. I think their play styles match pretty well. Running with these two guys, the athletic ability that they have, no one would be able to keep up with them. And I don't think you'd have to give up too much from this Bucks roster that you would miss to get Ja Morant. You give up a few role players, maybe some picks, but the Bucks are in win now mode with Giannis. If they don't win something here soon, Giannis is going to want to get out of there. So I think this is the type of move you make to pair Giannis with that other number one star who we've seen carry teams to the playoffs. I mean, Ja took this Grizzlies team to the playoffs, a little better roster back then, but he took them to the playoffs, won a playoff series. This is a guy that can be your number one star. And if you pair him with a number one star like Giannis, who's already proved he can win a championship, I think that 1-2 punch could be easily a top 5, top 10 duo in the NBA from day one. But that's the most important part about going to Milwaukee is he wouldn't have to be the number one in the franchise guy. That's already Giannis. You just have to go there, play complimentary ball, and be that second star. Drew Holiday laid the blueprint for that when Milwaukee won their championship. And if Ja Morant can do anything of that same type of production that Drew Holiday put up, this team could be scary come playoffs. But obviously, Milwaukee's not a done deal, and we still don't even know what the Grizzlies are asking for in exchange for Ja Morant. So let's go to another option in the Kings. They have a super fun young core, and they just drafted a guy I love out of my school, Colorado State University, in Nick Clifford. And I think he's going to dominate when he gets those minutes. And I think playing him with someone like Ja Morant can only benefit their young core when they do decide to get rid of these older players like Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan or Domantas Sabonis. I think adding Ja Morant and building around him and some of the younger pieces like Clifford, as I just said, could be the way to go for the Kings. But I also think the Kings have enough to give up to get Ja Morant. The question would just be, does he want to play there and does he want to go into that system in Sacramento? Because I think it's a good system. I think Doug Christie's a good coach. So I think we'll just have to see, if he does go to Sacramento, where does he fit and kind of what is that play style with that team? But I think Sacramento is definitely an interesting option and would probably be number two on my board of destinations. I'm still going to go with Milwaukee as my first option. Let's go to my third, and the Miami Heat. And I think this is one of the more interesting options and one of the options that I don't know what that package would look like at all. I could see them throwing back a Norman Powell or a Tyler Hero in this trade, but I also would love the idea of Ja Morant playing with Norman Powell and or Tyler Hero. I think for this trade with the Heat, you have to kind of gauge what they can give up and still keep a good core around Morant. But obviously, you got a great coach in Eric Spoelstra, and I think he'll do a lot of that work that needs to be done in terms of disciplining Morant or kind of getting him on schedule and back on and getting him back that confidence to play at the high level that he has shown that he can play at. But I think putting John Morant in a situation like that with a kind of no BS head coach and no BS general manager and Pat Riley, I think both those things combined would make John Morant kind of get back to those early days when he was just locked in playing basketball, not doing any of the stuff off the court and just kind of being that number one guy in Memphis. I think he could be that number one guy in Miami. So that's why they're going to be my number three option. I'm going to go Milwaukee, Sacramento, Miami. I think Sacramento, Miami kind of just flip flopping for me there. I like both the fits. I think it's just going to be interesting to see which team wants to give up more to get Morant. And one of my maybe hot take type of teams would be a team like the Brooklyn Nets, who maybe want to buy in on a star like Ja Morant and kind of build around him with all those picks they have and all these young players they have. I think the Grizzlies really just want to move on from Ja Morant, and I think that's what's important to them. This feels very similar to the Trey Young situation when it feels like the Hawks just wanted to get away from their star guard and just kind of move on. And they didn't really care about what they got back because let's be honest, that Hawks package was not much for Trey Young. And I'm hearing from a lot of reporters that the package that's being received back for Morant is not massive either. It's a pretty small type of package. So I think Morant is going to get probably undersold. And I think hopefully he thrives somewhere else and makes the Grizzlies kind of regret this decision. But yeah, the numbers say that John Morant is still a star. The resume, everything he has on his stat sheet says he's still a star. He's having a down year. Every star has that. But I think if you put him in the right situation, in the right headspace, he could become that number one guy. And if he goes to a team like Milwaukee, he can slide right into that number two spot and be a star alongside a superstar in Giannis. But let me know your thoughts on where you think John Morant's gonna go, where you think he fits best. If I said anything in this video you really disagreed with, be sure to let me know in the comments.